All right, what's up, guys? Vivi back with another video. And in today's video, guys, you see it on the screen. We're going to be checking out OP08 Lucci, okay? So no stage Lucci. We'll go more into this probably towards the end of the video where we talk about the deck list and break things down. But I think Lucci's still very solid. And again, we will go way more into this as we go through the video. But real quick, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Let me tell you guys the breakdown for this video so we can just hop straight into it. Because one more thing I do want to mention for any of the newer listeners, the videos that I put out on the weekend, I try to make those a little bit shorter so I have a little more time to myself, a little extra free time on my days off on the weekends. So, first things first, we're going to be heading over to the lab, okay? And we've got a game of red-blue Nefeltari Vivi versus purple-yellow Pudding. Okay, that should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how that goes. Okay, that's going to be first. After that, we're going to do only 3 games today, guys. Only 3 games on the sim of me playing OP08 Lucci without the stage, of course. Okay? For those who are not wondering why I say that, the stage is banned now. For anyone who's trying to get back into the color black, the stage has been banned. Okay? That's no longer accessible to us. It's not accessible to us in the West or in the East. Okay, guys? Then after that, after the 3 games on the sim of me playing Lucci, we will head over to the deck list and kind of break it down. I'll give you guys my final thoughts on it and tell you what to look out for and stuff like that. And we'll wrap up the video in that way. Okay, guys? So short and sweet video today, pretty concise. And let's get into it, guys. Let's dive straight into this. You know what you're getting into. I will have everything time-stamped in the general description of the video, and I will have all relevant links and deck lists down in the comments section. All right, guys? Let's do this. All right, first things first. Let's head over to the lab, guys. Check this out. We got a game of red-blue Nefeltari Vivi versus purple-yellow Pudding. Okay, what is this portion of my video? For anyone who is new to the channel, at the beginning of all of my videos, I try to have a segment that we call the Vivi Lab. And in this portion, I review random people's games on the sim. Sometimes people will submit games that are live games, and I'll go over those as well. But typically, it's a game on the sim that someone recorded. So if you're interested in me reviewing one of your games, it's totally free of charge in every way, shape, and form. All you do is record your game, upload it to YouTube, and then link it to me over in the Discord, the VV Theory Discord, under Review My Game. Okay, and under there, as soon as I see you put a link in there that works and everything, I give you the thumbs up, and you get thrown in line. It's that simple. All right, so now that that's out of the way, I always have to do that for the newer players who might be interested in me reviewing a game, because it's also extra content for the channel, right, guys? It's a good learning opportunities and all kinds of stuff. It ended up being a really good addition to the channel, so I always try to keep that fresh and keep these submissions rolling. Because, guys, we're up to 8 pages now of submissions. Yeah, I'm almost through all of them, but I'm saying that's how many we've gone through. It's been a really nice addition to the channel. Now, let's go ahead and dive into this game. We got a game of Nefeltari Vivi, red-blue Nefeltari Vivi versus purple-yellow Pudding. Okay, the volume is off. The speed is on 2x. The quality's up as high as it'll go. And let's do this, guys. Let's check out this game. Okay, now another thing, guys, for those who are not aware, I have no idea who these players are. This is totally random games, and I don't pre-watch these. Okay, and real quick, it looks like the player on the bottom chose to go second. Okay, so the Nefeltari Vivi player has chosen to go second. They won the dice roll and chose to go second. Which, by the way, that does play... Pause. Let me pause for a second. Countering out early. I like that because Nefeltari Vivi can draw a lot of cards. I'm just going to call her Vivi from now on, even though that's like part of my name as well. Okay, that might be a little... Hopefully that's not too confusing for any listeners. And if I say anything that is confusing, I forgot to mention this earlier too. If there's ever any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put them in the comment section below, guys. I try to answer those as quickly as I can. Now, real quick, breaking down the start of this game. The Vivi player chose to go second, and they won the dice roll. Or the coin flip, whatever you want to call it. I don't play a lot of Vivi. I'm going to be totally upfront, transparent with you guys. This is not a leader that I've spent a lot of time on, but I do want to say this. Typically speaking, Pudding does want to go first. Now, I can imagine how Vivi would want to go second because she gets to draw a card. However, depending on what we see, excuse me, depending on what we see in the deck here for the red-blue Nefeltari Vivi player, I think it might have actually been better just to take first away from Pudding in this situation. However, we're not going to be attacking very early since Vivi, the leader, cannot attack. So maybe this was just fine. We'll have to see how things go over the course of the game. So the Pudding just played out a Brûlée, and they attacked in. We countered out, and now, hey, Vivi draws a card for the turn, paying 2. That's for those who are not aware of what Nefeltari Vivi does. If you're a newer player, the leader, So the leader has pay 2, activate main once per turn, pay 2, draw a card, and give a character on your board rush for the turn. Okay, that is very powerful, right? You can give characters rush that shouldn't, technically should not have rush, and you're drawing a card in the process. And this is a 5 life red-blue leader, a multicolored leader, like a dual-colored leader that has 5 life. The stipulation is you cannot attack with the leader. Okay, so just understand that for any of the newer players. All right, so let's see what happens here. Let's let this game play out a little bit. Swinging for 8. Yeah, I think we do counter. I think it makes sense to counter out here. We do a 3. It's a 1-cost 3K, and then we give them another. Was that another one? I think we used 2 of the 1-cost. No, let me go back real quick. I'm sorry, guys. What just happened there? We do got to go back real quick. So they swung for 8. We're gonna go. Yeah, we did. We gave them 2 of the 1-cost 3Ks. That works. I guess we don't have a lot of counter power in hand, so it does make sense to do that. And here we go. Gonna start playing out the big characters. Boa Hancock coming down. And one thing I will say that does seem kind of good here. They're putting us into a search. I'm gonna pause it real quick. One thing that is good about this matchup for Nefeltari Vivi is Purple Yellow Pudding is not exactly like this really fast, aggressive deck. So if we can counter out early and keep as high a life total as we can, and then get to our really big removal cards like not Gravity Blade, that's fine too, but actually Red Rock, where we can start removing their 10-cost characters after they do their on-play effect, we might actually be fine, right? We might actually be completely fine here. Being able to establish a 6-cost 8K like this, and they have no characters on the board to even attack with. So this is actually playing out very well for the Boa player. Excuse me. Okay, so let's see what happens here. They do a top 4 search with Pudding. Let's see what they get. I'll tell you guys. They got a Charlotte Flampe. So EB01, the 2K counter Flampe is what they drew from that. All right. And here we go. Just waiting to see what they do with the remaining, what is that, 7 or 8 Dawn? It's kind of hard to tell. 1, 2. Yeah, I think they're going to put 5. So it was 7 Dawn. They're going to swing for 6. We have a Bad Manners kit course, and that's it, actually. We don't have any other stage in hand here. Or, excuse me, any other counter power in hand. I would really like to see the ratios on this list, guys. How much counter we have. If it's only event counter, that's very interesting. Swinging in for 7, we're going to have to take that. There's a Rad Beam. But hey, that's a 2K counter Sanji, so very nice. Got to play out the Borsellino, bottom decking the blocker, what's her name, Brule. And then, so now their board's gone, right? They have a 1-cost character on the board. Pudding slams down the 10-cost 12K. We lose a life. They gain a life. But hey, that's fine. We'll play out the Boa and lock down the 10-cost Lin. Oh, very nice. Now, hang on. Okay, now, something does have to be said there. 1 second, guys. I understand what we were trying to do there, playing out the Boa Hancock. But look what we draw. Look what we draw with this, guys. We play out the Boa, and watch this. Pay 2 to use the effect, draw a card. That is the 4-cost 5K promo Luffy. It's a Straw Hat only blue Luffy. And what it does, it is on play, you trash 2 cards from your hand, and then your opponent has to put one of their characters on the bottom of their deck. I think in a previous video I said back to their hand. No, it's even better than that. It goes to the bottom of their deck. Okay, so that is very brutal. Okay, and that gets rid of a 10 cost if there's no other character on the field to worry about. So going to swing it for 8 here, and this is something I was going to say earlier. I think it was kind of, I don't know if we should have played out the Boa on curve like we did, the turn that we played out the very first Boa, because we should probably be using those as defensively as we can into these 10 cost 12Ks. Okay, well, we're smashing in right here, to be honest. Swing for 8, 10. And remember, guys, their 10 cost Lin cannot attack this turn. But right here, they can play another Lin and be safe if they have one. If they have another 10 cost Lin and they don't, they're going to use it. They're going to use Hakai Supreme Ocean Sovereignty or something like that. I can't remember. There it is, Hakai Ocean Sovereignty. That can wipe out 2 characters at a time. Okay, and I think it's 2 6-cost characters. I didn't read it fast enough. But that's very powerful, guys. That's actually really strong here. They go back to Dawn. Not really a big deal. But guess what? Now look at this. We're going to trash 2 cards from hand. Yeah, the 2K counter and the Gravity Blade. Great choice. And now our opponent has to bottom deck one of their characters. Well, there's only one character to bottom deck. And it was the 10 cost 12K. So that was a massive advantage here. So, okay. I would have probably played out. Did we give... No. I'm sorry. We drew that for the turn, I think. Okay. So swing for 7 here. Let me see what happened there. I know we got to go back real quick. Oh, we gave rush to the Luffy. Okay, I see. And that drew us the Sanji. I was gonna say, why didn't we give it to the Sanji? Because then we actually could have just gained life and swung in extra. But we gave rush to the Luffy. Excellent. Okay, so it's gonna be swing for 7 here into 5. That's I would if they have counter in hand, the pudding player. This is one they probably should counter out of, because otherwise there's gonna be an 8K swing coming in next. You know, obviously it's gonna happen. Okay, swing 8. Always do that too, guys. Consider both attacks. Now they have to give us 2 2Ks. It's like, I think a 2K, 1K would have been so much more ideal in that situation. And then we just take the 8K. You know what I mean? If we're going to take one for the turn. Okay, they're going to have to play something massive here, guys. Like, the pudding is going to have to play something absolutely crazy right here. If I'm putting... There's only 2 cards in the Vivi's hand right now, the Nefeltari Vivi player's hand. So I would test the waters and swing 5 into the 5K Luffy. That's the very first thing I would do before even doing that. Okay, let's see what they choose to push back. Probably the Sanji, right? If they push the Sanji back, yes, excellent. Then they can swing 6, okay, or 5 into the Luffy, and then do the Searcher. But do that first. You see what I mean? Like, always try to do that first. It just so happens we couldn't save it either way, but there's still a proper sequencing to do these things in. Because let me explain it like this real quick, guys. I paused it. Don't worry. You know, the VV player doesn't know what's in your hand. Only information we've seen so far, right? And the only thing I think we've seen was a Flampe. And by the way, that pudding they just played, the second one, that whiffed. It picked no cards to draw. However, what I wanted to say was, okay, if we swing for, say the pudding player swings for 5. Let me go back real quick, guys. I just want to kind of show you all this. All right, right here to the beginning of the turn before we play out the Lin. Okay, we have no idea what the Nefeltari VV, excuse me, what the purple yellow pudding player is going to play out here, right? So if they swing for 5 first into our 5K, if we have a counter in hand, which we don't right now, but if we had a counter in hand, we might let it go because it's like, okay, we only have 2 cards in hand, and I still have 2 bodies on the board. And then if the follow-up play is what we just saw, like, okay, we'll play out this 9-cost Lin and bounce back another one of your characters. It can hit a 6 or lower, 6-cost or lower character. That would be the more optimal sequencing for that play. As little information as possible for your opponent. Okay. All right. So here we go. They're gonna so they swing 5 into the Luffy. Gonna go ahead and let that go. We can't counter out anyway. They reveal the top 2 and go up to 10 Dawn. I guess they just wanted to see what they were gonna get. Swing for 8. One thing I will say is that it's pretty fortunate for our VV player that they did not see, that the purple yellow pudding player did not see any extra 10-cost Linlins yet. Because that is the card that's really hard to deal with for everybody. Dropping down to 10-cost 12K, very few decks have an answer to that. But this is one of them. This is a deck that does have an answer. In the 4-cost Luffy, like we saw, or even the 6-cost Red Rock if they're running that. I don't know if they're running that or not. Okay, going to swing in for 6 here after playing out the 8-cost, or excuse me, the 9-cost Lin. Going to swing in for 9. This is going to go through. But now look at this, guys. We've got a 10-cost Shanks in hand. We're going to play out the 5-cost Das Bones, Mr. 1, I think his name is, where he can draw 2 Trash 1. That is a new Mr. 1 Das Bones card that has a on-play draw 2 Trash 1. And I think it's like attach 1 Dawn when attacking. I think it buffs, hang on one second, guys. I think he gets bigger based on how many events are in your trash, which that makes a lot of sense. We're running a lot of events in this deck, guys. This seems like it was a very well-made VV deck. Going to swing 9 into 9. Now, this needs to be, okay, I was going to say, I would have probably tried to block out of that if I could, so that means they must not have any counter power in hand, because they weren't going to be able to get out of that attack right there. Okay, so let's see what happens here. We do have 2 Dawn active, and we're sitting on a Rad Beam, and that's it. It's actually just a bluff. Or no, excuse me, it's 2 Rad Beams. I didn't see the other one. I always try to stack my cards together. That's just me. But yeah, so we got 2 different Rad Beams. Very good. And we have a Red Rock now. So this game is actually drifting into the VV player's hands. It seemed a little rough at first, but at the same time, even like I said, Purple Yellow Pudding did not get a crazy start. Okay, playing out Viola. Interesting. Probably going to arrange our cards around. But whatever the case is, it looked kind of even. I'll say that. It didn't even look like... It actually never looks like it was in the Purple Yellow Pudding player's, favor. It at least looked even, though, at first. But now, it's looking really favored for the VV player. Probably... So, we can Rad Beam out of this one, but we're at more than 2 life. So we have to give a 2K and the Rad Beam, and then now we should probably just let... Can we Rad Beam? Yeah, we have more 2Ks, actually. We have 2 more 2Ks in hand, so yeah, we can easily get out of that as well. But in that case, I would have probably saved the Rad Beams. I would have just used the double 2K counters right there. That's just me personally. I think it'd been a little bit better, because when we go down to 2 life, then Rad Beam gets a little stronger. All right, we got Shanks in hand, guys. We got Rayleigh in hand. Rayleigh and Nefeltari Vivi. I am going to pause real quick, guys, because it's pretty important. Rayleigh is actually an incredibly powerful card in Nefeltari Vivi now, because think about it. On your 10 Dawn turn, you play Rayleigh out for 8. You do -3, -2, pop a 3 or less, and then pay 2, give him Rush. He's attacking, and you're drawing a card to replace the card in your hand. So we might have to revisit Nefeltari Vivi on the channel very soon, guys. I also heard another list. You guys tell me what y'all think about this. Okay, Beige, by the way, coming in to help, help out this turn. They're going to use Blocker to stay at 1 life. 1 second. They're about to play out Shanks and pop this 9K. But my buddy Mike and someone else at Locals was telling me that there might be a red-blue Nefeltari Vivi Chopper aggro deck in the works. We might have to explore that at some point, but I have not messed with it yet, and I've only heard the rumors. I had never even heard of it until last night. Okay, so going to go ahead and pop a 10,000 power or lower character, being the 9-cost 9K Lin. Our board is massive, guys. And what does our opponent have right now? They have a 0 cost. Excuse me. They have a 1,000. They have a 0 power character, a 1,000 power character, and a 2,000 power character on their side. We have an 8K, a 12K, a 6K, I believe it is for the Dawes Bones, and a 12K. Yeah, this is not looking good, and no matter what they play next turn, we're going to easily be able to play out Rayleigh to pop the blocker in our way and just run them over, give him Rush and everything. So they're going to try to go for lethal, it looks like. Or no, excuse me, they're going to go 8 and 6, just going to give him a 2K there, or a 2K 1K rather. That's Shariah, very strong card. And here we go, swing for 9 into 8. Okay, they got the Borsalino, but how is that going to help you? Nice, play out Rayleigh. Yes, yes. You love to see it, popping the blocker. Swing for 6. Okay. They counter out. Add 2, draw, pay 2, draw 1, swing for 8 with Rayleigh, swing for 12. GG. That was awesome. Good game. That was a blast. I think everything looked pretty good. There were a few sequencing things I noticed, like especially from the purple yellow pudding. I would try to work on giving your opponent as little information as possible. And there was another turn where we kind of countered out early with the Rad Beam, where it's like, okay, it's just a 1-cost 2K counter at some points where it feels a little bit rough. But hey, this ended up being a great game. GG to both players. That was a good one. All right, guys, let me get us all set up. Give me just a second. Let me turn this off, move this around. And we're actually going straight into more games on the sim, so I'm not even going to move my camera this time. Just going to go full screen here, turn this off, and there we go. And I just got to adjust my camera just a little bit. I tricked Josh, said I wasn't going to move my camera, but I did. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so got some games with Lucci. We're going to talk about Lucci a lot more. We're going to be doing some theory crafting after we check out 3 quick games on the sim, because I do think this leader is still extremely, extremely powerful even without the stage. We're also going to talk about ST14 Blaffy is what I call him, Black Luffy. We'll talk about that as well towards the end. Okay, volume is off, speed is on 2x, and we are good to go, guys. Okay, play. Here we go. Now, a card that I like that is very polarizing within the Lucci community is the card I have in hand right now. I have 3 copies of it. Is Kaku. I actually think Kaku is great now that we don't have the stage. It's not my favorite card. It's just hitting a 3-cost character is extremely important now on the body because of our leader, right? Because we can drop -1 for our leader, and then we can start popping 4 or less characters with cards like Who's Who, Kaku, and the other card in my hand, Jack. So this is Black Yellow Luffy here. They're playing very aggressively. They're already down to 1 life, and we attacked pretty aggressively as well, right? We'll talk about that in a second as well. You can't be scared. Now, right here, I think we just have to play this the safe way. We're just going to have to -1 this guy. We'll swing in for 4 at 7, where he can't take the life to go through, and then we'll probably just swing for 5. I'm trying to fill up my trash. That's all that was. And then play out the Kaku. Don't use the effect. Your turn. So I'm just filling up the board a little bit. He has 1 life left. This guy is playing like a maniac right now. He cannot take that last life card, but on top of that, okay, he's going to swing for 4 into 5. I do need to try to save this, to be honest, guys. I think I do. Yeah, 1-1. Because I need to be able to do -1. Pause real quick. Whoops. There we go. Brook is still of utmost importance, guys. Brook is still of utmost importance. I thought it was time to get rid of him, but look what he's going to let me do. I'm going to swing for 5 at their leader. I'm going to do -1 to their Luffy. And I'm going to be able... I could potentially pop one of these smaller characters, but literally who cares, right? Then I can attack with my leader into their leader, and that will give another -1 to the Luffy, and then I can pop it with Kaku very easily. Okay, let's see what happens here. I just get rid of that guy. I guess I have a different game plan here. Oh, I might be going for lethal. Excuse me. I might just be going for lethal here or drop every card out of their hand. There is a much safer play we'll talk about in a minute, guys. Swing for 7. Swing for 9. GG. You just can't get that aggressive, guys. I think it's just too scary to get that aggressive. Because even if he counters out of this, he's got 2 cards in hand. You know, 3 after the draw. I have 3 life. Now is he going to start going for my board? Because that's like, you know, that is a horrible idea to start going for the board, right? One thing I will say about Black Yellow Luffy is you want to go at face and ignore the board as much as possible. But can they? Will they even be able to do that? Swinging for 4, like what kind of miscalculation? That was just odd. They choose not to. Are they going to choose not to swing? Okay, they did. Pause, and they just give up. This guy must have been a newer player to Black Yellow Luffy because, like I said, the reason I've got a lot of things I want to say. He gave up because he only has that much counter in hand, right? So it's like, okay, I'm just going to swing. You know, what is he? He's at 9K, so I think I could just swing 10 and 10, maybe. Actually, maybe not. He might have gave up a little prematurely. Let me see something real quick. Well, no, I could easily swing 9 and 9. I could for sure swing 9 and 9, and he can't even... It would cost everything in his hand, or I could start running into his board. There's a lot of different options there, right? But real quick. The turn prior was just me being way too gutsy here. So the way that this turn right here should have gone, this was perfect. Save the Brook, right? Save Brook. And then all I have to do on this turn right here is swing for 5 with the Brook, because I have 7 Dawn, right? Swing for 5 with Brook. Yep. Swing for 5. And then, okay, he counters out. I could swing for 5 more with the Kaku. And by the way, not KO the Garp. Give -1 to the Luffy. And then swing for 5 with, 5 with Kaku. And then swing 6 with my leader. And with the remaining 5 Dawn, and -1 to the Luffy, I could just pop the Luffy. And now it's your turn. Like, and he has nothing. You know what I mean? So that was a definite play mistake. What happened right there? Just to give you guys a heads up. But at the same time, it wasn't. I guess whatever the case is, my opponent just decided to give up here because I don't think the game was over yet. That's one thing I will say. Yes, I would have in this situation here where I couldn't just get rid of him in one turn. Again, what was that attack, guys? I don't understand that one. But right here, he takes his last life. He has a blocker. I'll show you guys in a minute. I wasn't even running. I'm not even running Brook in the list. We're going to talk about Brook when we get to the deck building part of this video at the end. But right here, guys, it's going to be swing 8 into your Luffy, swing 8 into your Luffy. That would cost me 3 and 3, and I would be on 9 Dawn this turn. So from there, I don't know, I might actually have to play a blocker. See, because I didn't play that one turn correctly, I don't think this guy realizes he probably could have won the game. Like, the guy probably could have won the game on the next turn. But anyway, okay, GG, that was a fun one there. Let's keep going. And this will be, we're only going to look at 3 games of Lucci. I will be revisiting this in the future. Okay, speed 2x. And one thing I will say too, guys, is Black Yellow Luffy has a very, very solid matchup into Lucci. So it is one of Lucci's worst matchups, probably, if not its worst matchup, is Black Yellow Luffy. So we will talk about tech cards at the end of the game, or at the end of the video. Okay, so fill up your trash, guys. It's all that matters. You know, you need to fill up your trash early, especially if you're going to try to play cards like Lucci, cards like Kaku, things like that. We are getting rid of this card. We have to. It's just too... That Miss Wednesday card is too strong in this deck, in Purple-Yellow Croc. Okay, I go ahead and use the zero-cost counter to cycle some cards and, you know, get some more cards in my trash. Very strong. The zero-cost counter is really nice, guys. 6 King Pistol, very solid. They play out a Baron Tobago and another Miss Wednesday. Okay, we have to get rid of Miss Wednesday. The card cannot stay, and we can't even attack first. We have to get rid of it first, or they will already get the value from it. So I trash a 2K counter to KO that card with Who's Who. I'm going to swing for 5. Let's see what he wants to give me. And I still have 1 Dawn active. I'm probably just going to draw a card, or swing 7. I was going to say I might use Tempest Kick, but I probably shouldn't. I should probably save that. Okay, they got the Hiyoko, the Viscount Hiyoko from the Tamago. Very cool. That's a very interesting... interaction there. Like that makes for a very interesting idea for Purple-Yellow Croc. They're going to swing in there. I'm just going to let the Lucci go. I'm really not worried about it. They're going to swing in for 7 here. They play another Miss Wednesday. This card is so annoying, guys. We've got to get rid of it, though. But this time, I think we're going to go -1 to it. And I'm probably going to Ice Age. I think this is a play mistake turn right here, guys. Okay, let's see what happens. I go ahead and Tempest Kick, so he's at 2. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to have to Tempest Kick twice just to get this off with the Lucci. Never punished. We draw into another Tempest Kick. Pop both of them. And then swing for 7 with Who's Who. I still think that was a play mistake, guys. I think I should have just dropped Jack there and start popping his characters that matter. Like because, okay, pause. Let me say that right now. I don't think he would have been able to cheat out the count, whatever this, I can't see his name. But, okay, go back. We got to talk about this real quick, guys. This turn was way too fancy when I'm on an 8 Dawn turn. I don't think we should have Gecko Moria'd necessarily here, but I do think I should have just gone, okay, plop down Jack and KO your Miss Wednesday, and then swing 5 and then 6. Swing 5 with Who's Who, swing 6 with my leader, and gone about it that way. I've got an 8K body on the board and plenty of 2K counter power to protect it if they're going to try to run into it. So I do think that was a play mistake, and popping this bird allowed him to play out the other bird, you know, the count, whatever it says. Sorry, guys, I don't know the names of some of these obscure cards. But okay. So now it's my opponent's turn. It looks like they're probably just going to go 7 into 5. That's what I would do, I think, here, is just clean up the board a little bit. Unless he wants to try to go for lethal or something crazy. Who knows? I would go 5 into 5 first with Crocodile, and then 7 into 5 into Who's Who. Both of these into Who's Who until it gets taken out. He's got 10 Dawn. He's probably going to play out something like a, you know, either Yamato, Crocodile, Katakuri, 10 cost Ace, you know, something along those lines, I would imagine. But who knows? We're just waiting for him right now, guys. He's deep in the tank right now, trying to figure out what he wants to do next. I don't know if there's really a great play from here. And he's going to go for face. So I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. We're actually going to have to counter out of this aggressively, because that means he's probably going to play 10 cost Ace here and try to rush me down. But he should have swung for 5 first with Crocodile. That's the one thing I will say that should have been different. Okay, he's going to swing for 9. Okay, so we're going to take that one. He plays out Boncray Bentham. And, yeah, I guess, guys, we're just not in any hurry to close out this game. But I think what we can do here, we're going to swing 5 at leader, go -1 to the bird there, drop him down to 5. And I think we're going to do a Gecko turn here. Yeah, Tempest Kick to drop him down to 1, Helmeppo. With Gecko Moria to take out Helmeppo, Lucci, pop everything on the board. He gets out Tamago. We're going to swing for 5. We're going to swing for 6. But hey, if he's got another one of those little chickens in hand, he could probably block with this and play it out. Let's see if he has it. Yep, he does. Okay, wow. So I'm definitely not out of it yet, guys. But take a look at my hand. I do have 8K plus 3. I have 11K counter power in hand and 1 life card. I don't have a blocker, but I have a lot of counter power. And he should know that, because I don't think there's much counter power in my trash right now. Because he could just look at the trash and it's like, okay, I'm just going to take whatever you swing, because you could have loaded everything up and I'd have gotten out of it. Okay, so we'll do this. Just get out of it. I think how much did we counter out of there, guys? We went to 17. We countered up to 17. Going to swing 9 into 5. GG. That was a fun one. He should have left 1 Dawn active to at least like mess with me a little bit. You know, like, all right, I'm going to redirect your attack, but it just doesn't matter. Right? He has 0 counter power in hand. The only other thing I think he could have tried to do this turn, or the following turn where he just went all in, is maybe play out Lin, but I only had 1 life, so he couldn't even pop a Helmeppo. Right, so yeah, he's just so up against the ropes there, guys. It probably felt like he couldn't win, and I don't think he could at that point. All right, we got one more game, guys. This is a fun one here. We got one against Sanji. Red, PRB01, Sanji. Okay, I've got an interesting hand here, but I do love that start with Spandam, fill up my trash, get the cards I need, because that pretty much ensures that I'm going to be able to use Kaku right away. And this is where this is where Kaku is very nice. I take this one. I probably should have 2K countered, to be honest. Counter out of the stuff you can against Sanji, because he's going to start swinging for lots of 7s later in the game, I believe. I guess it depends on the player and the build. I'm going to swing 5 into him. I'm going to make him counter out. Let's see if he actually falls for it. He does not fall for it. Okay. Oh, I can't even play Kaku this turn, guys. I'm sorry. I'm on 4 Dawn. So I'm surprised he did not counter out of that. But I think my next play there would have just been to you know, play out this Rebecca and just go about my business. Plays out another one. Okay. Swing for 6. And I will say this, it is kind of scary to counter out early with Sanji, because you run out of gas very, very quickly. Okay, so I go ahead and block out of one of those and counter out of the other. I'm going to swing 6 into 6, and he just lets these things go, man. Now, this turn, I was going to pop it with Kaku. This turn, I was actually going to get the Kaku out and just bust that card out of here. You know what I mean? That didn't sound right. Y'all know what I mean? Pause. Y'all know what I mean? But all right, here we go. He's going to swing in for 7 here. Probably pop my Spandam. Very good. 8 into 5. And that's weird that he wouldn't, like, at least... Because I think, isn't Pell only a Dawn times 1 effect? Why not just swing for 6 and 7 there? So this guy might have been messing up a little bit with his math. But that's okay. You know, hey, that's the best part about the sim, guys. Okay, I'm swinging 5 in here, -1 there. I'm swinging 5 at face, -1 at the Pell. But what I was going to say, though, was the best thing about the sim, guys, is it's such a good place to practice. So we're going to swing 6 into 6 here. He does 1K counter out this time. We're going to go ahead and Tempest Kick here. Going to play out the Jack, get that rolling. I need to trash a card from hand. I can trash... See, now that I have Jack on the board, I can actually trash Kaku and not even be scared about that, right? Okay, so he plays out the Sanji, gives it Rush, uses the effect. It looks like he's going to swing in for 7. Okay, you can only give one character Rush a turn, guys. I'm sure he knows that. Fly like flew right in my face when I said that. I'm sure this guy already knows that, but at the same time... I guess he did need to try to play out some characters here. But, guys, I literally have a Jack on the board. Nothing is going to survive. Like, actually, nothing is going to survive from this point on the game forward. He has to attack into my Jack every turn, or the value is going to be too much. So we'll -1 there. I'll save Helmeppo for a larger target. I swing for 8. Oh, I play out another Jack. Just kidding, guys. I wasn't even paying attention. I had 10 Dawn to play with that turn. And now what do you do? Right? Like, this is the point of no return here, guys. I don't know what my opponent's supposed to do here. Try to rush me down, swing 9, swing 5. And hey, he's telegraphing all of his plays. I'll take that one. I'll counter out of this one. And now I can actually swing 7, 9, 9, 11. You know, or 12 or something like that. Okay, GG. Yeah, load it up. GG. Load it up. I'm just kidding. All right. So this guy had a hand full of gas. That's for sure. He had 3 Kid Killers. So I understand now why he's trying to get me down so low in life. But guys, that's why, one thing I will say about Kid Killer, your mileage may vary, but I think it is a great 2 to 3 of card in your deck as like your finisher. Because early in the game, the card's trash, right? I mean, a 4 cost 5K rusher, we have 3 cost 5K Zoro. We don't need a 4 cost 5K rusher. That's not good enough. But later in the game, after we've done some damage and we fought the board and we're in a good state to win the game, that's where Kid Killer actually becomes insane. Because now it's a 4 cost 7K rusher. But it's not until they're down to 2 life. So having 3 of these cards in your hand, I guess technically next turn he could have tried to go 7, 7, 7 with his leader and double Kid Killer. Sure, like that is a possibility. But look at my board state. You're not going to survive next turn. Because another thing about Kid Killer is that's a dead card in hand. It's a brick. That's a 0 counter. It's not a counter at all. So that's something you have to really watch out for. Okay, at least when deck building, right? Okay, let's go ahead and check out the list, guys. So this is the list I was just running. 2 notable exceptions in here, guys. And did we not see Stussy at all? I'm starting to want. Let me move my face over real quick before I forget. I feel like we didn't see Stussy in any of those games. Like, didn't even see it in our hand at all. So I'm wondering if I'm wondering if we just didn't see it or I got unlucky or what. Anyway. Notable exception, no Sabo in the list. You can absolutely add those if you want to. This is just meant to be more of like a rough draft of what I'd be messing with in OP08. Go down a Stussy. Like the first thing I would do right now is go down 1 Stussy. And I'm only running 2 Gecko Morias. That was the other notable exceptions. I'm not even running 4 Gecko Morias. I'm just running 2 now, but at the same time, like let me update the list for a second here. Let me go to Gecko for black cards. The very first thing I would do is go up a Stussy, go up a Gecko Moria. Just 3 and 3 I think is fine. And some people might be thinking, like, what do you mean you're not running 4 Gecko Moria? No, not really. You know, I think that card's very good, but there's things we have to consider. There's things we have to consider with this deck. We're not even running Brook in this list. Okay, so we don't have any, like, straight-up one-to-one answer for whatever Black Yellow Luffy's going to be trying to do. That's number 1. Number 2, the stage is gone, so, you know, I am up on cards like Kaku and cards like Who's Who and Jack. I like this form of removal right here. I'm a big fan of it. And this no longer has, like, major synergy with cards like Gecko Moria. Instead, I have cards like, you know, I still have the Lucci plus Helmeppo combo, but at the same time, I don't know, guys. All I'm saying is this. I understand that Gecko Moria is like one of the absolute strongest, highest value cards in the entire game. I'm still running 2 to 3 of them, like in my mind, no matter what. But at the same time, I think the deck has to adapt. It has to evolve. And I think dropping down to 3 Gecko Morias is not the end of the world when we still have all this super crazy top end from cards like Jack, cards like Stussy, and another card to consider, of course. Let me let the black cards load in real quick, guys, while we're talking. Check out the cool little... I love that loading animation. I know I talk about it every time now, but it's so good. Okay, so some cards we can go down in. Let me say this. Like, cards we can definitely go down in. I think we can go down 1 Lucci. I think we can go down 1 Kaku. I think we can go down 2 2K counters. I would say these 2 Kakus would be my first choice to go down. I think who's really good right now, guys. I know you're losing a card to KO one of theirs. I get it. But, hey, it's a 2K counter. It is searchable, right, because it is a CP card. And the way that Spandam is worded is it will find a card with CP in its types. So you can actually search this up with Spandam. So this is a searchable 2K counter. And then I'm also running the Khalifas. Where are those at? Am I not seeing it? They're right in front of me. So I am running the Khalifa. So I don't know, maybe go... Like, you can even go down 1 Khalifa and go up 1 Kaku if you want to just have a little bit extra cost reduction. Well, I don't know. They're both cost reduction. Never mind. Where's Khalifa at? There we go. But notice there are... Oh, let me put the leader in as well. So notice there are 4 cards missing right now, and I think those are flex spots in the way that I'm piloting the deck and the way that I'm messing around with it. And honestly, with those 4 flex spots, I would probably do something like this. I'd probably add 2. Oh, that's another card to consider. That's another card that a lot of people are talking about right now. It is worth a try. That's for sure. And that would kind of... See, here's the thing. This would kind of take the place of Stussy, but Stussy is searchable, right? And Stussy hits anything. Remember, we were looking at the red-blue Nefeltari Vivi versus purple-yellow Pudding in the lab portion of today's video. Okay, well, Stussy goes, oh, that's a cool 10 cost 12K you've got there, but now it's just dead, right? It's just gone. That deals with a 10 cost 12K Shanks. It deals with a 10 cost 12K Linlin. It deals with a 10 cost 12K Kaidos. It just doesn't care. It just KOs anything as long as you have a smaller body to deal with it, right? And I think that's where Spandam comes in. Another card to consider dropping down one of, and this sounds crazy, but I'm going to say it, is Spandam. I have seen a lot of decks run only 3 Spandam, which I do think is a little bit crazy. I'm not suggesting it. I actually think Spandam is worth running. And let me bring it back up. I think this card is worth running as a 4 of, and I'm pushing it up to 4 just to kind of show you guys, because it's filling your trash. And since, like I said, I'm suggesting that we need to go up our count of Kaku and the Who's right here. I think these are extremely important. Even if we are going down in hand size, like momentarily, or however you want to say that, it's still extremely important because we're battling for board control. We're battling to take control of the board. If we can't get control of the board, we're just done for, right? And that's why, I do still have like the whole Spandine into Rebecca, it's the Rebecca, Helmeppo, Spandine, Lucci combo where you can just totally fill out the board with your Gecko Morias. But yeah, this is kind of something that I'd have in my head when building this deck. And of course, one more card. It is just such a good answer for Black Yellow Luffy. It's basically our best answer in this deck for Black Yellow Luffy. But then going into OP09, if you're still trying to run this deck, you'll probably have to make a swap over to Luffy, the Zombie Luffy or whatever people are calling this one, because it's a 5 cost 6K. And it has a 1K counter. Remember, guys, the Brook does not have a 1K counter. But here's what's so nice about this card. It trashes a card, right? So does the other one. The 4 cost 6K, or excuse me, the 6 cost 6K Brook, it does not have a counter, but it on play KOs a 4 or less, or excuse me, trashes a 4 or less. This trashes as well, but here's what's so important about this card. It's a win attacking. So going into OP09, you're actually going to have the choice to do this if you're playing against a Blackbeard. You see what I'm saying? So that is relevant. Okay, guys, that is actually very, very relevant. Yes, it's true they can play out Marshall D. Teach and make it where this character cannot attack for the turn, but how many times are they going to be able to do that? We should be able at that point. At that point, I think we should definitely go down to 2 Gecko Morias going into OP09. But in OP08, I think we dropped to 3. I think we dropped to 3, and we keep our top end very strong with cards like Stussy, cards like, let me bring up all the 8 cost cards real quick. These are our options for 8 cost cards. I mean, I wouldn't run this one, but like these are your real options right here. Is the Isho, the Gecko Moria, and the Sabo. Like these are our best answers, our best targets currently for Lucci for OP08 over here in the West with no stage and all that good stuff. Some people might want to go up the Ice Ages. I get that. But at the same time, that's why I'm running Stussy. Where it's like, yeah, but how are you dealing with the bigger characters? Easily. Like, absolutely easily with cards like Stussy. I get it, you know. Like I said, I was only running two Gecko Morias, and I kind of like that number still. And I was running 4 Luccis though. That's a card I probably might go back up to, because I'm going to say this right now. So one thing that a lot of players will try to do is it's like, well, what is your answer for this deck? What is your answer for this deck? Sometimes there is no answer, guys. Like, sometimes there just isn't an answer. I don't know how else to say it. Like, yes, you could put an answer in, but now you're losing consistency against the rest of the field. You know, and that's why I think a lot of people are running the Brook, by the way. Like, if I were to fill out this list, it would be 2 Brooks right here, so that I do have an option against Black Yellow Luffy. So, like, if you're going to a sweaty locals, which, hey, I know what that's like, guys, even though I always play off-meta jank, my locals is very competitive. You know, don't get it confused, guys. I'm going to a very competitive locals most of the time when I even can go. But here, and I love my locals. I didn't mean that to sound bad, right? I love my locals. But let me say this. If you're trying to go to a major tournament, you're trying to win, you're trying to have an answer to everything, your deck has to look kind of like this, where you got like, oh yeah, 2 of this card, 2 of that card, 2 of this one, maybe 1 of this card, maybe 2 of that card, 1 of this card, and so on. You might have to mess with things that way. But generally speaking, the way that I would build a deck is a little more basic, where it's just like, I want the deck to function at a high level, and then whenever I get to a matchup that is an ill-favored, a not favorable matchup, like Black Yellow Luffy, for example, I would almost rather double down. Like, let me just say it like that. I would almost rather double down, and I'm just going to try and go as wide as I can and try to win in that way. Or try to rush them down. It depends on the deck you're running, right? It always depends on whatever deck you're running. But in this case, it's like, you know, I'll just try to go as wide as I can and deal with things that way. You know, block her up and just do my normal game plan. Because here's the other thing. Now, it is pretty standard. Black decks do get through their cards very quickly because of cards like, you know, of course they have Spandam. Spandam is better than most searchers, especially within black, of course, because it trashes the cards you don't get. Okay, well, if you trash a card, just get it back with Rebecca if you needed it. So what I'm trying to say is, even if you have 4 Spandam, it's like, oh, but it can't grab my Sabo. Well, no problem. One of the strongest plays we've seen in the game is where you go, okay, like strongest defensive plays, is, okay, I'll play out Rebecca, and then that will get me Sabo, and I'll play out the Sabo, and now my Rebecca and Sabo cannot be KO'd, and I have 2 blockers and 1 Dawn left to do whatever I need with. So it's just an incredibly powerful, you know, defensive capability. So I do like this in the deck right here. But again, I do think going forward for Lucci, I like going to 3 Gecko Moria, and I'm even, like you guys saw, I'm experimenting with 2. I'd rather just be able to pop anything they have on the board. Like if we're playing against Anel, right? Okay, boom, that character's gone. Just whatever it was. It doesn't even matter. It's just gone. Against Pudding, like, oh, 10 cost Linlin. They're probably thinking I'm about to have to use like 3 cards in my hand, right? It's like, no, I'm actually just going to play out a Spandam and search for a 2K counter or a blocker or something. Or actually not, I guess not a blocker, right? But I'll grab like a 2K counter or some removal for later. And then I'm just going to pop the Spandam I just put down with Stussy and just KO anything they played last turn. And now I have a 9 cost 9K on the board, which is going to be hard for them to deal with, and so on and so forth. Because you have to make sure, you know, especially if you are trying to be more competitive and go to like the big tournaments, what is your answer for Doflamingo? Okay, well, in this deck, I have lots of cards. Like I have Kaku, I have Who's Who, and Jack in the deck. After saying Who's Who, I almost said Jack. It's like almost like a Freudian slip or something. But whatever the case is, it's like, okay, you need to have these options ready for you. Okay, they need to be ready to go. And if you don't have them, well, then you're in deep trouble, right? And the other thing that is still nice about Brook, guys, is like this card with your Tempest Kick is popping a 4 or less. And then if you're attacking with your leader and using Tempest Kick, now you're popping a 5 or less. So this card is still pretty good. It's way better than I thought it would be. I thought after the stage was gone, it's like, okay, this card's just gone. But no, it's not. It's actually still just very good. Because even like running the Helmeppos like I'm running next turn, okay, -3, -1 with the leader, and now we're popping a 5 or less. It's still just very, very strong, guys. This card is right here. And another play, you know, something to at least consider. If you play this out on turn 2 going first, like turn 1, I don't know, maybe Spandam pass or just nothing pass. Turn 2, play out Brook, popping whatever little 1-cost searcher they played last turn. And then turn 3, when we have a 5-Dawn turn, if we don't have Kaku in hand, we might just go Khalifa. Just go, okay, drop down Khalifa, -2 to your character. I'm going to draw 2 trash 2 to fix my hand. I'm going to swing with my leader, and I'm going to pop whatever 4-cost character you played last turn. And that, again, that's if we didn't have a Kaku or if we didn't want to use a Who's Who in hand because it's a 2K counter. So many different options. But yeah, that's about it, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not saying this build is complete. Please do not be like, hey, why aren't you running this? Hey, add it and tell me how it goes. And instead of asking me, guys, that's one thing I have to ask you guys. Instead of asking me, hey, why not run this card or why not run this card? Please run the card for me and tell me how it goes, guys, because I get a lot of these different requests, and hey, the deck's been working fine for me, but again, I'm not going to some major tournament where I'm expecting to go against like 4 or 5 black yellow Luffys in one stretch, you know what I mean? I would rather go to my locals or play on the sim all night and like make these decks that work out good for me, and that's kind of how it is. The only deck you'll see where I actually I try to tech the deck against every single option is my red yellow Sabo deck, because that's my main deck, of course. For those who are not aware, for anyone who might be new to the channel, my main leader currently is Red Yellow Sabo, and that's the deck that I put the most time into, the most effort, and I make the most meta choices based off of. So, but when it comes to Lucci, this is just a deck that I really enjoy playing. I think this deck is absolutely incredible. And hey, guys, like I said, every now and then there's just a matchup that just counters whatever you're trying to do. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to make your deck work and play against it, but at the same time, you got to be realistic as well. Okay, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Please don't misunderstand what I was just saying. I think that Lucci is still very good, and it should be able to deal with pretty much anything, right? I think it does have that capability. I think it's easily still A tier, but one thing that we'll probably talk about in a later video is now ST14 Blaffy, as I'm calling him, 3D2Y, the Black Luffy starter deck leader. I think that one, I've been seeing a lot of people lay that, guys, I've been seeing a lot of people play that recently, and it seems very strong. All right, I'm done rambling, guys. Bear with me if I said anything too crazy, guys. It's the weekend, trying to rush through this video. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel. Let me get the play mats up here. There we go. Guys, if you're just liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, you're helping me out big time. That's all I need you to do. Please keep it up. I really appreciate it. The channel's growing. In fact, at the time of me recording this video right now, I think we're just like 4 or 5 subs away from 10K. So we're almost there, guys. Almost about to reach a major milestone, something I did not foresee coming in the next like 5 years. You know what I mean? Hoped for, but couldn't have seen coming. But big shout out to everybody who supports the channel. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, if you're not already. Let's get to that 10K number. We're so close. Shout out to the VV Pirates playmat supporters. Hope you guys got your mats and you're enjoying them. Those things came out awesome. And then last but not least, the patrons here. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel, you know, by just donating to help me out. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. All right, I'm done. Again, please do not forget to like and subscribe if you've not already. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, tell me what you guys thought. Tell me what you guys thought in the comment section about Lucci, how he's going to be in OP08. Would you rather play ST14 Luffy, or would you rather play Lucci if you're playing black in OP08, or something else? Tell me down in the comment section below. All right, until next time, guys. Peace.